Have you ever wondered about the intricate tapestry of history that has woven the complex relationship between Russia and Ukraine? This is where our journey begins, exploring the shared history of these two nations that has been centuries in the making. As we embark on this journey, we'll uncover the roots of their intertwined past, which is filled with moments of unity and discord, cultural intermingling, and a myriad of conflicts. We'll start from the dawn of the Kievan Rus, progress through the emergence of Russia and Ukraine, and delve into the era of the Russian Empire. We'll also examine the periods of union and discord leading us to the modern era, which is marked by a renewed tension between these two nations. Our journey will allow us to understand the present through the lens of the past, providing a nuanced perspective on the Russia-Ukraine relationship. So buckle up as we delve deep into the annals of history to understand the roots of the Russia-Ukraine relationship. Our journey begins in the medieval state of Kievan Rus, the cultural and historical foundation for both nations. Emerging around the 9th century, Kievan Rus was a federation of Slavic tribes under the rule of Varangian nobility. This state, enveloping parts of present-day Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus, became a melting pot of diverse cultures, traditions, and ideas. Its formation marked a significant milestone in the history of Eastern Europe, setting the stage for the evolution of East Slavic culture. Under the reign of Vladimir the Great, Kievan Rus underwent a transformative period. In a bid to unify his realm, Vladimir adopted Christianity from Byzantium in the year 988. This decision wasn't merely a spiritual shift, it was a strategic move that opened doors to diplomatic relationships and cultural exchange with Byzantium and the wider Christian world. The adoption of Christianity therefore played a pivotal role in shaping the cultural and intellectual landscape of Kievan Rus. The golden age of Kievan Rus, however, was not destined to last forever. In the early 13th century, a storm from the east swept across the plains of Kievan Rus. This was the Mongol invasion, a force so formidable that it shattered the unity of Kievan Rus. The Mongols ruled with an iron fist, levying heavy taxes and demanding absolute obedience. Their reign marked a period of decline, leading to the eventual dissolution of Kievan Rus. Despite the devastation, the Mongol invasion inadvertently sowed the seeds for the emergence of distinct political entities. The fragmentation of Kievan Rus allowed regional powers to gain prominence. These distinct regions would eventually evolve into the nations we know today as Russia and Ukraine. The fall of Kievan Rus marked the beginning of a new chapter, setting the stage for the rise of distinct political entities. The echoes of this past continue to resonate in the present, shaping the cultural, political, and geopolitical landscape of Eastern Europe. As the dust of the Mongol invasion settled, two distinct entities began to emerge on the world stage: Russia and Ukraine. In the 14th and 15th centuries, the Principality of Moscow began to rise as a political power. This growth was fueled by a combination of strategic marriages, religious authority, and a knack for playing the Mongols and Lithuanians against each other. Moscow's rulers, known as the Grand Princes, began to centralize power, laying the groundwork for the Tsardom of Russia. The 16th century saw the ascension of Ivan the Terrible, the first Tsar of Russia. He further consolidated power, expanded the Russian territory, and imposed a harsh rule. Ivan's reign marked the transition from the fragmented principalities to a unified and centralized Russian state. Meanwhile, to the south, the geopolitical entity known as Ukraine was beginning to take shape. The term Ukraine itself, meaning borderland or at the edge, reflects the region's historical position on the periphery of various empires. Ukraine's history is one of shifting borders and identities, caught between the aspirations of powerful neighbors and its own quest for independence. In the mid-15th century, part of Ukraine was under the rule of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, while the southern and eastern territories were controlled by the Crimean Tatars, a legacy of the Mongol Empire. The western part of Ukraine, known as Galicia, was under the rule of the Hungarian crown. Despite these divisions, a sense of Ukrainian identity began to emerge, shaped by a shared language, culture, and history. The 16th and 17th centuries saw a series of revolts and uprisings by the Ukrainian Cossacks against Polish rule. These events, along with the influence of the Orthodox Church, further solidified a sense of national identity. The growing influence of Russia and the struggles of Ukraine would soon lead to a turbulent era of conflict and subjugation. As Russia expanded its territories, Ukraine found itself under the Russian yoke, marking a significant shift in their relationship. The 18th century brought a new chapter in the annals of Ukrainian history as it became absorbed within the vast expanses of the Russian Empire. Swept into the empire's fold, Ukraine found itself ensnared in a web of cultural suppression and political subjugation, a far cry from its previously autonomous status. As the Russian Empire continued to burgeon, it sought to establish a unified cultural identity. This endeavor led to a calculated effort to suppress the distinct cultural identity of Ukraine. A key manifestation of this was the imposition of the Russian language. Ukrainian, a language rich in history and tradition, was sidelined, its use restricted and discouraged. This was more than a mere linguistic imposition, it was an attempt to eradicate an integral element of Ukrainian identity. Beyond the cultural sphere, Ukraine was also subjected to economic and political domination. The fertile plains of Ukraine, known as the breadbasket of Europe, were exploited to feed the burgeoning Russian populace and fuel the empire's growth. This economic exploitation was coupled with political suppression. Any form of dissent or calls for autonomy were swiftly and ruthlessly quelled, fostering a climate of fear and repression. However, it was during this period of subjugation that the seeds of dissension began to sprout. The Ukrainian people, despite the oppressive regime, clung fiercely to their cultural heritage. The Ukrainian language, though suppressed, survived in the rural heartlands, whispered in homes and sung in fields. It became a symbol of resistance, a beacon of national identity. This resistance laid the groundwork for the fervent nationalism that would emerge in the 20th century, setting the stage for the tumultuous relationship between Russia and Ukraine that we witness today. The echoes of this period of domination still reverberate today, shaping the contemporary narrative of Russia-Ukraine relations. The 20th century brought a new political order with the establishment of the Soviet Union, further complicating the Russia-Ukraine dynamic. The early years of the 20th century were fraught with political turmoil. During this time, Ukraine was incorporated into the newly established Soviet Union. This union, however, was not a marriage of equals. Ukraine, rich in resources and strategically located, was seen as a valuable asset by the Soviet leadership. In the early 1930s, the Soviet Union's forced collectivization of agriculture led to a man-made famine in Ukraine, known as the Holodomor. Millions of Ukrainians perished in this horrific event, their suffering largely ignored by the international community. The Holodomor left a deep scar on the national psyche of Ukraine, fueling resentment towards Moscow. World War II brought further devastation to Ukraine. As the front line between the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany, Ukraine was the site of some of the fiercest battles of the war. Cities were reduced to rubble, and countless lives were lost. In the aftermath of the war, Ukraine was rebuilt under the aegis of the Soviet Union, further integrating it into the Soviet state. Post-war Soviet policies further deepened the rift between Russia and Ukraine. Soviet leaders, wary of Ukrainian nationalism, implemented policies to suppress Ukrainian culture and language. Simultaneously, they promoted the migration of ethnic Russians to Ukraine, further diluting the Ukrainian identity. The end of the 20th century, however, brought a glimmer of hope. In 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved, and Ukraine declared its independence. This marked a turning point in the Russia-Ukraine relationship. No longer a subordinate part of the Soviet Union, Ukraine now had the chance to forge its own path. The dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a turning point, setting Ukraine on a path towards independence. With the fall of the Soviet Union, Ukraine emerged as an independent nation, but the shadow of its past with Russia still loomed large. As the 20th century drew to a close, Ukraine found itself stepping into the dawn of a new era. The newly independent nation was eager to carve out its identity on the world stage. However, the echoes of its historical ties with Russia continued to reverberate. In 2004, Ukraine witnessed a significant political upheaval known as the Orange Revolution. This peaceful protest movement marked a turning point in Ukraine's post-Soviet history and shifted the country's trajectory toward Western-style democracy. Yet, the euphoria of the revolution soon faded as political instability and corruption continued to plague the nation, leaving the door ajar for Russia to reassert its influence. Fast forward to 2014 and we see Crimea, a region in Ukraine with a significant Russian-speaking population, annexed by Russia. This marked the most drastic change in the map of Europe since the end of the Second World War. Russia's annexation of Crimea was widely condemned by the international community, but the action was done and dusted. The specter of Russia's might had once again cast a long shadow over Ukraine's sovereignty. The annexation of Crimea was the ignition point for an ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine, a region known as Donbass. This conflict, often referred to as a frozen war, has seen thousands of lives lost and has displaced countless more. It is a conflict mired in the complexities of identity, history, and geopolitical power plays. Yet amidst the tumultuous panorama of conflict and change, Ukraine continues to assert its independence and forge its unique path. The nation remains a testament to resilience and the enduring spirit of its people. The complex history of Russia and Ukraine has paved the way for the current conflict, a poignant reminder of their intertwined past. As we navigate the convoluted corridors of history, we gain a deeper understanding of the present. We've journeyed together from the earliest days of the Kievan Rus, through the emergence of Russia and Ukraine as separate entities, their union and discord under the Russian Empire, and into the modern era. Each of these chapters, marked by their own unique challenges and triumphs, have woven a complex tapestry that is the relationship between Russia and Ukraine. The seeds of the present conflict were sown centuries ago. The Kievan Rus, a medieval federation of Slavic tribes, was the crucible in which the identities of Russia and Ukraine were forged. As separate entities, they developed distinct cultures and identities, yet remained intertwined by their shared history. The period of the Russian Empire was a time of consolidation, but also of tension. The policies of Russification suppressed Ukrainian language and culture, leading to resentment and a strong sense of Ukrainian nationalism. These sentiments were further exacerbated during the Soviet era, as Ukraine was pulled in different directions by internal and external forces. The modern era has seen a continuation of these historical tensions. The dissolution of the Soviet Union in the early 90s marked a new chapter in the Russia-Ukraine narrative. Ukraine's journey towards independence and sovereignty has been met with resistance, leading to ongoing conflict. Through understanding the past, we can see how historical events have shaped the current state of affairs. The path of history is not a straight line, but a winding road that reflects the complex interplay of politics, culture, and identity. The issues that fuel the present conflict between Russia and Ukraine are deeply rooted in their shared past. As we reflect on these historical events, we are reminded that history is not merely a series of disconnected happenings. It is a continuous narrative that shapes the present and influences the future. History is not just a chronicle of events, but a guide to understanding the present, and perhaps a key to shaping a peaceful future between Russia and Ukraine. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey as we've traversed the tumultuous past of Russia and Ukraine, from the days of the Kievan Rus to the present day. The intricacies of their shared narrative are a testament to the power of history and the lessons it can teach us. We hope this exploration has provided you with a deeper understanding of the present through the lens of the past. If you've enjoyed this video and found it insightful, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Here, we aim to shed light on the complexities of history, politics, and culture through engaging and informative content. Your support helps us continue to create these deep dives into history. We also encourage you to share this video with others who might be interested. Spreading knowledge and fostering understanding is a collective effort, and every share counts. Stay tuned for more explorations into the annals of history. Don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate your support and look forward to continuing this journey with you.